So once again, when we're doing this, we want to make sure that our horizon line is not in the middle. That splits the art into two separate drawings. You'll have a sky and a ground. You're really not trying to do that. For this one, we want to do more of a landscape than a skyscape. So we'll draw a line towards the top. We want to take a flat brush if you want to. Make sure your paintbrush has a little bit of water on it. You're not making a watercolor here, but you want the paint to go on smoothly. More paint is better than less paint. We're going to make a solid stripe of blue at the top. You don't want to be able to see the white of the paper underneath. We'll then take a second brush, once again also grabbing water on the brush, and we'll go with just straight white. Nice thick white line towards the bottom, wherever your horizon line is. You can go below the horizon line, it doesn't matter, because we're going to cover it up with mountains or hills or whatever you choose to do in yours. A lot of white paint. We're going to take this white paint and blend it up into the blue before the blue dries, and then blend the blue back down on this white brush. You can leave little streaks of blues and whites through there. It'll give the illusion of clouds, which is just what we're looking for. You don't want to have any chunks of the white paper shining through. Ideally, you're going all the way on the paper and off the paper. Otherwise, you have random little chunks of white. You create an odd texture. You want it to be all the way across the paper. That's really all we're going to do for the sky. Should be really simple. If you have a little bit of water and a lot of paint, it shouldn't take long at all. Different styles of clouds you can do with the fan brush. I'm just going to take the corner of one, get some paint on there. I'm going to do little C shapes. Clouds tend to be thicker towards the bottom and thinner towards the top. Not always. There's different kinds, cumulus and things like science questions that I don't understand. And I'm going to pull from the right side of that C. I still want to make sure that I'm leaving some solid white paint on there. I don't want to grab it all off. I can come in and reinforce it in places, adding more white paint. If you want to have more of a rainy looking cloud, you could add some gray. If you want to have smaller clouds in the background, you can do that too. Very small C shapes. Just pull some paint through. If the paint is still wet while you're putting the clouds on, you'll get some nice hits of blue coming through. It'll be a more natural cloud shape, or cloud color, excuse me. Very simple wispy clouds. You can also just do scrapes of clouds running through. It's really your choice on how you do clouds. Experiment on your rough draft paper to do that. All right, now we're going to move on to the mountains. There's a couple different ways you can do this. I'm going to choose brown. You can also use purples, like red plus blue, make a little violet. If you want to. If you ever look at mountains in the distance, sometimes they can appear to be a purple tone. Not necessarily always true. Doesn't matter what kind of brush you use, it's your choice on what brush you use. Rounded, flat, your call. I'm going to use, in the background, I'm going to use a darker brown. I want to just have a very loose, organic shape. Normally you'll wait for the stuff to dry in the background. I'm not going to do that today. You want to bring the mountains up and into the sky. You don't want to leave any little white section where you have blue and then the white of the paper and then mountains. It just doesn't flow, doesn't fit. This area does not have to be perfect. You can add a little bit of white. Once again, always keep your brush a little bit wet. Want to choose where the light source is coming from. Take that brown brush one more time and just kind of dab over where the two areas meet to create a rocky-like texture. Hey, yo, Rocky! Not that kind of Rocky. Adrian! Because he's in this class. It's Adrian. He sits right there. Just dab it in. It'll create a rocky, rough-looking texture. You can do the same thing with black on the opposite side if you want to. Once again, black's real strong. You don't have to put too much in there. As you're doing this, try and think about which mountains are in the front and which mountains are coming in behind. Try and alternate them so they're not always just in the front, in the back, and keep it always the same. Try and alternate which ones they are. Now, I've got a little bit of white on this brush that I have brown on. I want to wipe that off because I don't want to add the black and the white. I'll get a gray mess. So with that brown brush that I put the mountains on with, I can get some more of the brown and then just dab it in where it meets the black. No. You're okay. Just a cough. Now, closer to the horizon line, I'm going to do a lighter series of mountains. Ideally, you're using the same brown. If you use a different brown, it looks like you have a different kind of mountain. That's not what we're looking for. So on your separate sheet of paper, or paper towel or newsprint, you'll get that original brown you used. Scoop a little bit of white. Once again, I tend to scoop from the corner so I'm not tainting the entire white and I don't have to keep going back for more white. You don't want to make it too light though. You just want a noticeable difference. You don't want it to be a cloudy little brown. Now we'll come in quickly. We'll look at the paper. I don't see much of a difference, so I'm going to add more white. We can overlap in parts. Real loose, real free. Make sure you're not leaving areas in between each little mountain range. You don't want to have mountains in the back and then a big white space in between. If you cover up a mountain entirely, that's not the end of the world. It's okay. You don't have to flatten this out. I just am for the sake of doing it. Now you should still have some brushes that have white on them. Same concept as before. Add a little bit of the solid white. I know it's hard to see on this screen, but once again, we'll dab along that white. Try and fake out a little rocky formation look. We're not really going for a snow-capped mountain here. It's not really the look we're shooting for. Once again, I've used brown and white on this brush. Do I want to use this brush with black now?
No.
Why?
Because it makes it change into some sort of gray.
Yeah, into like a filthy looking gray. If you want a filthy gray, that's cool. You can do that too. All right, once again, get a little bit of black on our brush. Find the back side of the mountain. Take a little bit of that brown again. And dab. If you feel like it's too brown, you don't like the way it looks, you can always add in more black or more brown. As long as you work quickly with a little bit of water on your brush, the acrylic paint can be moved. When we did watercolor early in the year, it's unforgiving, yes? Once it's down, it's down. It's really hard to get rid of. With acrylic paint, if you don't like this, you can just paint right over it. So if you mess up, don't freak out, don't go crumble it up.